Example of my land I bought in Lekki. Once I bought the land, they didn't tell me before I bought the land. They told me, hey, this is a very good piece of land. It's facing the ocean. It's a lovely place. It's very lovely. You know, if it was in Europe or somewhere in Dubai, it would be prime property, close to the beach, lovely place. As soon as I bought, they called me aside and said to me, Chief, Chairman, this land I bought, you don't want to take it from you. Fence it around. I asked them, should I fence it 3 feet or should I fence it fully? They said, no, if you want to fence it, fence it. You don't have to fence it 3 feet. Fence it fully. So I took out money from my pocket, about 2 million naira, and fenced it. After I fenced it, they called me aside. Said, look, this area, property here is very prime. Okay? If you want to really reserve this place, get somebody to be staying there. Guess what? I got somebody, Adamu by name. I paid him to stay in my property. You know, he's a tenant, but I paid him to stay there because he's providing security. I paid him, he stays there. I brought money from my pocket again to pay him. After I paid him, after a while, Adamu calls me on phone. Adamu says, Oga, that place that he has us to stay, rain is beating us, so can we get something to cover ourselves? I brought out some more money, I gave him to build something small that I can be living under. 2 months passed, he called me again. Oga, the grass has grown. Meaning I should pay for them to cut it. I paid again for them to cut it. I asked people, what do I have in that land? Is it a liability or an asset? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. I got myself investing into what I thought was real estate, what I thought was land. It was in limited resource. God was not creating extra land. So definitely it must be value. But guess what? Because it's not bringing money to me, at best, it's a business. At worst, it's a liability. I won't go into the gory story of how I delivered myself with this land. But guess what? People have invested in things that are bringing no income to them. They think those things are assets, they are not. I once asked the class, evaluate your assets, what is the current value of your assets? And one young man raised up his hand and said, my assets are valued at $40,000. I said, wow, that's very good. Because I heard some people say zero, and I heard some people say that their assets were minus $6,000. So I was really curious about this $40,000 asset guy. And he said to me, okay, $40,000. I was very happy with him. I said, can you give me a breakdown of these assets? So he said to me, my car, my fridge, my television, and the whole class burst out into laughter. I said, why are you laughing at me? Are they not assets? I said, no, they are not assets. They are liabilities because it costs you money in the long run. And he said, but when I was applying for it, I got asset loan finance. And I asked for that as well. I said, well, on your bank's balance sheet, they are assets. On your own balance sheet, they are liabilities. The paradigm of security has locked us into a frame of thinking where we assume that some things are assets that are not. I'm sorry, when you begin to fill your map, your balance, your account statement, and your balance sheet, your income statement and balance sheet, I urge you, only feature as assets anything that generates passive income. If it's not generating passive income, listen to me, it's not worth it, it's not an asset. The third paradigm I like to break is the paradigm that says money, hard work, and savings is not what is important. What is important is intelligence. I tell people, every one of us spends at the level of our intelligence. My son is 4 years old today. If you give him 10 million naira, he will buy Capri-Sun, Bubu, and sweet. When he finishes with the sweet, he'll go back to Capri-Sun again. If you increase the money, you will still buy Capri-Sun. I tell people, as adults, many of us are financially unintelligent, and we don't buy Capri-Sun, we buy our own version of Capri-Sun. And for some of us, our version of Capri-Sun could be a Range Rover Sport. Some of us, it's a particular fancy, a particular car, a particular vacation, a particular trip, something that doesn't make any sense that you spend money on. One day I lectured in a particular place, and one elderly man came to meet me and said to me, Deolu, last year I made 250 million naira. He said, as you were speaking, I realized that I've spent all this money and there was nothing I created with that money that fetches me passive income. So even though I've earned 250 million naira before, my asset column today, by this analysis, is zero. What can I do? I gave him a little counsel on what I felt he could do, but guess what? Many people have squandered millions of naira, millions of dollars. They are not free. Why? Because what matters is not the savings, it's not the hard work, it's not the money. What matters, more importantly, is intelligence. And I tell people, how do you get intelligence? You get intelligence from 2 places. From your own experience and from the experience of others. Your own experience, the small little things, the small little risks that you take. I tell people, losers never lose. If you have never lost money before, then you will never lose, you will never succeed. But if you want to succeed, you need to be willing to take small risks. I tell people, whenever I get myself to be involved in something, if it's small, if I lose money, I consider it as school fees. I tell people, woe betides me if I lose the money and I lose the experience. If I lose the money, I want to retain the experience. The fourth paradigm I'd like to share about is the paradigm that says how much you earn is not important. Many of us live in a society where we deride ourselves, look down on ourselves because of how much we earn. We think that we're disqualified from becoming financially free because our take-home pay is small. I tell people one of the key signs of financial illiteracy is when you think that what you need is a salary increase. How much you earn is not important. I like people to repeat after me. Say to the person beside you, how much you earn is not important. Now listen, we rate ourselves as big boy or small boy or bigger boy.